Okay. So, how old were you when your whole family converted?
I believe 11. I think, yes, 11.
What was that like?
It was really weird because we were Catholic before that. So my dad was raised a Jehovah's Witness, but then left it to meet my mother. And then randomly, all of a sudden, we were kind of like put in the middle as to, do you want to go to Catholic church or do you want to go to Jehovah's Witness church? Jehovah's Witness church was like 2 hours on a Sunday, 2 hours on a Tuesday, and 1 hour on a Thursday. And then you had to go door to door. And when you weighed the two together to go to Catholic church on a Saturday afternoon for 45 minutes, priest puts a little wafer in your mouth and you call it a day. I mean, that's how that all went. And then out of nowhere, my mom went. And we're going to be Jehovah's Witnesses now.
Do you know why your mom chose Jehovah's Witness?
I think because she was too proud. She met my dad really, really young. Really young. And I don't think she wanted to admit to her family or anybody that it was a bad choice. So she stuck with it, even though she thought it was the right thing to do at the time. You can't really blame her. I just...
Well, what was the first meeting like?
I was too young to really... The meetings were strange. They just kind of were a lot of redundant scriptures and magazines of things that they made into a certain way to make their cult religion seem like it was the right thing that you were doing. It's such a manipulative thing, but they slowly drag you in and then you can't get out. So I was too young at 11-ish, and then slowly I thought that what I was doing was the right thing to do because I wanted to make my parents proud, and I got praise, and I met other people that were giving me praise. Like, that's a very strange feeling to have. But when it came to the outside world, I got the opposite. Teachers, kids were mean to me out of nowhere. So they teach you that's the right thing to do. And that's what I did.
So your dad's experience as being raised as Jehovah's Witness, do you know much about that?
I don't know how strong, that's another word that they use in that place, is how strong the person is in the religion. And that is also another way of judging them. Like, oh, they're strong in the truth. They call it the truth. So I don't know how strong my dad's dad was. So I don't think, in my heart of hearts, I think that he had 8 brothers, which was really hard to deal with. And he was just doing what his dad told him to do. But his dad also didn't have his best interest at heart. I know that he had it really rough growing up. And so because of that, I have to give a little bit of leniency and kind of just accept him for that. Because he got thrown around probably as a kid. From what I heard, I don't know for sure. His mom, alcoholic, abusive, sexually abusive. But you didn't hear that from my original source that told me that. I don't know. I can't. It's so tough when someone's gone through all of that to be mad at them. So just understanding that he came from that is kind of why I am where I am.
So you don't know what drew him back to wanting to be a Jehovah's
I think he
Witness
wanted
again?
to belong. He definitely wanted to belong. He wanted to belong more than anything. He would support groups growing up, like being instrumental or being part of an orchestra or some, but he only went to the parent meetings, and he acted like he was best friends with all these people and he wanted to go to these events, but it was never how well someone was doing, whether it be me or any of my sisters, how well they were doing on what they were playing. His kids luckily just played out gold, and he just wanted to feel like he belonged. And
Right.
I think that's why he went back, because some time went by. Obviously, my mom's parents didn't accept him, so he was like, I want to belong. He doesn't know this, he's not saying it, He wants to belong, and that is worth it to him to drag his entire family into an organization of people just from that own selfish feeling. I don't think he actually, his brain, I believe, stopped developing after a certain age. You have kids young like him, and it's just probably quite daunting. And I have 2 sisters, and then there's me. I randomly come along. He was dealing with a lot. At my age, 24, I was just trying to pay my rent, and that was all I was doing. And he was probably trying to do like triple that. So I hope that answers it. And that's why he started studying, because he wanted to belong. Studying meaning it was a 2-hour meeting once a week with 2 people that I thought were really cool. And I can go on about that later.
Okay. How old was he when you met your mother?
How old is he? So I believe he was 18, 19.
How many children were in his family?
He had 8 brothers. 7 confirmed brothers. I think 1 was married in. He was my favorite. I won't say any names. And then there was one that everyone said existed but didn't exist, and I feel like that person disappeared because they did. Yeah, that's what I got. I don't really know my uncles all too much, but I know 2 of them seem like good people, maybe.
Did he belong in his family?
No, like his dad would reach out, which is weird, because he always painted him as this awful human. He only told me terrible things about him, and his dad would reach out, and he would stop by our house with like food, canned goods to make sure that we were okay. He made sure to bring us a toy no matter what. Like, he always showed up with some kind of gift for all of us, which is really strange to me, because he made us like him, and maybe he was a good person. I only know what I've been told from other people, but my interaction with him, even though I didn't get to go to his services was that he was nice. I always liked him.
Why didn't you get to go to his services?
I don't think I was welcome. I never got told about a service. I mean, nervous laugh. I found out that he died because my cousin came and got her haircut to try to find out who I was. She actually was like, who is he? Who is Johnny? And I want to know who he is. And I didn't even know until she said, "You don't even recognize me, do you?" And I was like, "Who? What?" And she was like, I'm your cousin." I was like, "What? Why are you here?" That was her. But she did let me know once she met me, I think. I was probably 28? No, 30. No, way later. Hold on, like 32 to 34. In between 32 and 34 when I met her, and she let me know that my grandfather passed away and I wasn't there, and she thought that I didn't show up because because I didn't want to, because that's what everyone made her feel like. And that was when I found out while I was working that he had died, and she said I couldn't believe it. No one told you.
Do you think that your mother ultimately allowed your father to decide for the family what religion you would be following?
Ultimately, but she never really believed it. I know deep down that she didn't, because of little things that she would do that would make me feel like she didn't actually believe it. So yes and no.
You said that she was raised Catholic, right?
Yeah.
So how deep was she involved in being Catholic?
Her parents were wonderful people, and they were strong Catholics, but they weren't strong to the point where they always wanted her to do the right thing, no matter what, as well.
Sorry, pardon the clock for a moment. Of course, it would be 11. So, say again, she was part of the Catholic. You said that her parents were wonderful.
They were wonderful.
All right, okay. And
they wanted
raised
to.
You Catholic. How deep into being Catholic was she?
I think that she never wanted to let them down, and I think that she probably did as much as she could, but also knew there was a level of guilt because of the Catholic Church as well, because she met my dad, who was not a Catholic person. Everybody, they were all underage, and I feel like she was almost letting them down by sticking with her decision to stay with him. So I think that they were deep into it because she is a godmother as well. I don't even know who she is a godmother for. Something. They have like a painting. It's called like Little Shit, Big Shit. It's of Thumper or a rabbit. It's weird like that. I don't know who these people are, but she was pretty deep in that, making them happy. And then finally my grandparents said, we don't care. We do not care anymore. This is ridiculous. What are you doing? Because we started saying, she was like, there's not going to be Christmas anymore. There's not going to be this anymore. I've decided to do this. And they were like, you can divorce him. We're still going to talk to you. And these are all things that she doesn't know that I would remember. My grandmother wrote a letter to my mom because they got into a fight, because she said that she was just doing it to save her marriage, which my grandmother might have been right, although my mother probably loved him as well, but my mom never really got to meet anybody. So Stockholm Syndrome, I think, maybe set in a little bit in that department, because she's so smart when it comes to anything but relationships.
She was how old when she met your father?
I was told 14.
And he was 19?
14. Yes. So for her prom, she was pregnant with my first sister. So I think that's 16 years old. So yeah, that would make sense.
And
these are all facts that were told to me by someone that it's her sister that told me all of these things. So, and that person I don't even know where they went.
So she kept her first child because of religion?
My mother?
Yes.
I think she just got pregnant, and she maybe thought keeping the child was the right thing to do, because she was Catholic at the time. My dad got taken in by my mom's family, and they probably pretended to love him, even though my grandfather probably wanted to kill him. Because, yeah. So I think that they accepted him in and were nice to him, but tried to make the best of a bad situation.
Did they get married quickly?
Yeah.
How quickly after meeting each other and finding out they were pregnant did they get
17?
married? She was 17?
I believe.
Is that about a year after?
Yeah, because you need 16 to be a consenting adult in Massachusetts, so it would have been 17, yeah. And she was showing in her prom picture. I hope that she doesn't watch this. That would be awful.
I'm sure that she wouldn't be hurt by that. So, ultimately, she allowed him to have the family convert to Jehovah's Witness.
It happened.
And then you heard that you were not going to have Christmas anymore or any other type of holiday. Was this at a dinner or something? What was set the scene for when that was told to you?
It was just slowly. Like your mom started to study to be a Jehovah's Witness. And she thinks this is the right thing to do, and we're going to do this from now on. And it was, if you asked her flat out, it was a very strange answer that you got from her. Like, yeah, like an empty answer. She didn't know what to say to her kids. But being a kid, you don't know. So you're just like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing now. And that's what you do.
And you were how old again?
11.
11 years old when you first heard this.
Yes.
What was your feelings towards no longer having holidays?
I hated that we didn't have Christmas, but in a weird, different kind of way. Because her parents had this small little Christmas tree that was fake, and I loved decorating the tree with them, and they had a little thing that said that Jesus was alive as a baby, nativity set, and I loved going up to it and looking at it and just having that connection with them and having that being something that I'm doing as a kid. I really liked it. But to watch them continue doing it, even though I wasn't doing it, was kind of weird. But then everyone else around me wasn't not doing it either. They were all continuing to celebrate Christmas. Yeah, so that's where, and then you get surrounded by other people that aren't celebrating Christmas on purpose. So they tell you that these are your brothers and your sisters, and they're all people of the congregation, and they make you feel like what they're going through is the same exact thing, and that it's a good thing. It's a good thing. When in reality, I should have been celebrating, even if it was an excuse to spend time with the family, Christmas, because those things set dates and times that people are supposed to be together that my grandparents continue doing and didn't want to lose. But it was never extended family. It was just them now by themselves. And then we're by ourselves on Christmas, and no one's around anybody anymore, and it just put a big split in everything.
How much time happened in between your first acknowledgement that you were not going to have any more holidays and then your first holiday after not having holidays?
30 days, probably.
What was that holiday?
It was called Family Day.
Which you actually experienced the Jehovah's Witness Family Day before you experienced a non-holiday due to Jehovah's Witness transfer?
Correct. They came up with this fake holiday to make up for Christmas, and my grandparents were such good sports that they even showed up for Family Day because they wanted to see us that bad, that they partook in it, but they never thought that we would ever catch on, or I would never catch on, that it wasn't what they were really feeling down on the inside, because there was no tree. There was no 7 different types of Italian food. There was none of Christmas cookies. There was nothing like that. It was just a random holiday that they made up to make place for it so that the kids would abide and be like, oh, well, we get Family Day. But what do you really get?
What happens on Family Day?
You just unwrap a bunch of gifts. That's all.
In what context?
You just unwrap a bunch of gifts. You eat dinner and you unwrap gifts.
What type of a dinner? Is there any tradition to how the meal will be prepared?
There was tried tradition. My grandparents felt like they had no control over the situation anymore because it's their decision to raise their kids, I guess, how they want to. So they would show up and see us and try to do their best, but there was never tradition anymore after that. My dad would try to pull it in with them to try to make family day a thing, and it's just like, quit joking. quit kidding yourself, because this isn't this isn't what the tradition is. You made a weird fake tradition that doesn't exist, and now we're all here awkwardly, and the kids, you don't want them to know, so they're doing their best to be like, got you a gift. That's insanity for a parent to have to deal with after they've taken someone in and accepted things as best as they could. They're the most accepting grandparents or parents you could ever ask for.
What sort of gifts would people give each other on Family Day?
Oh, it was all what the other kids were getting. It's like what you would be wanting at Christmas, you get at Family Day. So you get the N64, you get the mutator, you get this, because you're still getting what all the other kids get, so the other kids aren't going to pick on you anymore because you have what they have through Family Day. It's a weird, manipulative thing, and it's a little messed up for...
What do you mean by manipulative?
It's manipulative because other kids would pick on you if you didn't celebrate Christmas, so then you could say, well, I celebrate Family Day, and I got the same thing, so shut the hell up. No, you didn't get the same thing. You got a weird... You got bought. That's what you got. You got bought.
What were...
But I mean, that's better than not getting bought, though. Imagine if you didn't get bought and you had nothing. So... Sorry.
You're fine. What was, say, Christmas like before transferring to Jehovah's Witness and having Family Day?
Christmas was you could never do any wrong, just like everybody else. And the first person that woke up because they were the most excited was the most annoying person, which is probably me. They'd find a way to wake everybody up so early that they're too tired to open gifts, but everyone still had a great time. And then they usually passed out for a nap. That the grandparents were already there. They would spend the night before, and that was Christmas. And then Christmas Eve was always spent at my grandparents' house, which was always presents directly from my grandparents on Christmas Eve, because they wanted it to be known that they're doing something special also, which made it a really fun holiday, because in my head I think that that's important, that you have that one night before with your grandparents, and then you have Christmas with everyone, and your grandparents came, so it's like you see all of your favorite people all the time, and you're also getting gifts. You're like, yeah.
You seem very fond of how it was before the transition.
Yes. I mean, I don't know how else to explain, but everything seems so normal and supportive, and not that there's ever a normal, because, you know, there's never a normal, but you don't seem different than everybody else when this is happening, because it still draws you in together and you get to know everybody. Even I look back at memories that I don't have anymore after the age of whatever, 11, 12, 13, because Christmas stopped. I don't have those memories with my grandparents. I have nothing. So that's why, because they made everything happy all the time. They wanted that for us. They wanted us to be happy. That's why I think of it fondly, because leading up to Family Day, it's like, well, what is this holiday? Like, what is this new thing? And you're a kid and you don't really. Yeah. You just do what you think your parents think is right.
So why even change religions in the first place? Do you have any idea?
To belong.
So the belonging, the need to belong that you discussed about your father's drive to transition back to a faith he was raised with, that belonging. Do you have any idea what maybe built to some kind of crescendo in their relationship where it would crash back down into we must change religions? Do you know what brings up that feeling in him?
He started studying, and then my mom was very much against it because she's very smart, and she was like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not doing this. This is a stupid idea. When the guys, there would be two brothers that would come over, and they would study with my dad, and that was always we had to be quiet. We had to go in a different room. But my mom, if she happened to be home, she was always working or at school, one or the other. And she would get home in the beginning and he would be studying with them, and she would get so mad, she'd get so angry that she would whip apart the kitchen. I've never seen her do that. Never. I've never seen her do something so crazy. And I know it's not like breaking glass or anything like that, but like throwing pans and destroying pantries, not destroying them, but like throwing all the Tupperware and everything to make enough noise to stop someone from studying something meant that she didn't agree with it at all. She wanted nothing to do with it in the beginning. And then that's it. That's what I got for you. That's why I believe that she doesn't really believe in it. I believe that she did it to stop the arguing and to save the family. And unfortunately, because my dad is who he is, and these people came in who they were, and they just kind of like snatched him.
He didn't know them previous.
No, he just wanted to belong.
Do you know where you met them?
There's a local Kingdom Hall in every town.
How did Jehovah's Witnesses get more Jehovah's Witnesses?
By going door to door.
Was he someone who met them from going door to door, or did he go to a Kingdom Hall?
I don't know why his father became one, so I think maybe he was going door to door. His dad. But I know that my dad was raised in it, and I know that his brothers were definitely raised in it, and it caused a little bit. There's nothing but dysfunction stories that have been told to me. So I don't know what to believe on each side. But yeah, no, that's how the religion works, is you go door to door, and you're taught that you're good for going door to door, and you're made to feel as if you are doing good, like you got an A on a test because you gave 10 hours a month or 20 hours a month. The more hours you get a month, the better you sit in the congregation. They view you as, oh, well, that person can't be doing anything wrong. When in reality, just because someone spends 20 hours going door to door and someone spends 3, doesn't mean that the person doing 3 is any better than the person doing 20. Because the person 20 could be, I don't know, trying on people's skin in their basement. You don't know. Like, it's just, yeah.
So you don't know how he met those people. You don't know that he maybe grew up with them and then returned to meeting them again.
That's what I think happened.
So you think that he knew them growing up and then found
Not
them
the
again
same
later.
ones, it just was familiar to him.
Do you know what drove a wedge between him and your mother to make him seek out the difference?
Because he was working a bartending job and she was going to school. And her parents were going to school, money was tight, and her parents were trying to help the future, all of us, the grandkids, by sending her to school, helping get the house, that kind of stuff. They put them financially on a good track. My dad was just never ready to even be okay with that. He just wanted maybe to do his own thing, and that maybe he wanted to forget about everything. That's maybe why he took the jobs that he took, why he used the excuses he used for the jobs that he took. But there's no doubt in my mind, if they ran low on money, that my mom's parents wouldn't make sure that we were okay. They tried even until they were gone, to make sure that we would be okay.
How old is your oldest sister?
She's 5 years older than me.
5 years old.
Mhm.
So then, when you were 11, she would have been 16?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, 15,
You have
16,
two
correct, yes.
sisters.
Yes.
2 sisters.
Mhm.
So then, the amount of time that all of you spend not being Jehovah's Witness were quite outweighed, which, I mean, they're quite old to be transitioning like that. What was their resistance like?
I never heard anything because I was the boy out of 2 girls. So, boyfriends were always talked about and were never on the table. That type of thing. You can only date within the people that are in the religion. So at that age, who knows what they were doing with other guys. They probably were doing their own thing as a kid, trying to figure that out.
I think I meant your sisters were also having to transition, but
Yeah.
they're in a different state of mind than you at the age of 11.
Oh yeah.
So I'm curious what their experience was with that forced transition. Did they combat against it in some fashion? Did you see them visibly treat it with disdain?
They never did because they were in the dating stage. So they were able to either hide who they were dating at school, or they were able to just date within who was a Jehovah's Witness in the congregation. And when guys are in this congregation and they're 16 and they've been raised that way, they have this vast array of females that they're allowed to date because they're also Jehovah's Witnesses. Now you get frowned upon if you're dating a not Jehovah's Witness. So that's why I say when they were dating, they were probably trying to figure out, do I date a Jehovah's Witness or do I not date a Jehovah's Witness? They also got baptized in it too, probably to make my parents, you know, you want to feel like you're doing the right thing. So, yeah.
So you think that they were only considering their problems with the faith as problems with their ability to date?
Correct.
Okay.
Because that's that age bracket, and
So you
that's
believe
how
that-
it felt.
You believe and felt that to be shallow.
Well,
their experience is only a shallow one.
it's okay if this Jehovah's Witness guy comes on to one of your sisters. It's okay. Because you know what? He's in good standing, right? Because he does 20 hours a month of field service. But it's not okay for this guy that does 5 hours. But who knows what that other guy is doing? He's like working a job and doing everything he can and going to school. But it doesn't matter. As long as you're going to field service and you're in good standing, you're picking the right one. So a lot of these guys that get raised there get to handpick females that will feel as if they are supposed to only date within the congregation.
And you don't think that they had any other problems with transitioning to Jehovah's Witness faith?
No, they probably rebelled.
Just they never said anything to you?
No, because they were like my grandparents too. They kind of wanted everything to be, they were going through too, and they were going through it at an older age. And they knew I was just a kid, so it was easier to just not say anything to me. So
you feel the age gap was too great?
yeah, I mean, they cared about me very much. They always wanted to make sure, like, if I cried growing up as a kid for any particular reason, the two of them were always around, like, right there, immediately. Like, if mom's not available, call one of them, and there they were. So I think that they probably they painted it a little bit better of a picture than it was, just so I would be okay.
So you think they cared about you?
Oh, they definitely did, yeah. Most definitely.